Hey everyone, on this episode with the Porsche GTS, we're talking about batteries. So I just bought this car right here and I need to figure out whether this battery is good or bad. So what we have here are a couple tools. We have a multimeter, which I'll have linked below, and a little more in depth, we have a battery tester. And a battery tester, pretty much what this is gonna do is test the actual life of your battery, whether it's in the car or outside of the car. So it's gonna determine whether you need to spend $250 on a new battery or whether the one in the car is good to go. Let's get started. All right, so imagine that this battery is in your car. So what we're gonna do is take a multimeter. You're gonna have two settings here. So for the red, so the black cell is gonna be on COM, which is common ground, and the red wire can be on voltage or amperage. We're gonna be on voltage here. And you're gonna turn your multimeter to DC volts. So DC volts is like a straight line over the V. AC voltage has a little squiggly over it. So what we're gonna do now is just take our leads and we're gonna go test positive, positive, black to negative. And this battery is reading 12.46 volts, okay? So off the cuff, so on your screen right now, you're gonna have a diagram that's gonna show you what the voltage number means in correlation to the battery health. So if you're at 12.8 volts, it means your battery is likely full health. If it's at like 12.2 or 12.0, it's probably time to change a new battery. So that's a pretty good fast indicating way to test the life of a battery. Now I'm gonna show you a more intricate way right now. All right, so let's say you wanna go test the battery health in a more in-depth way. So this is a Foxwell scan tool. This is for batteries, a battery analyzer. I have so many batteries in so many cars that if I let them all go to shit, I'd be out maybe $1,200 a year in new batteries. So one way to make sure that my batteries are good is to test the life of the battery itself. So what we'll do is we'll hook this up. This is a battery analyzer. It's reading 12.45 volts, which is what pretty much our multimeter just told us. So right here, we're in the menu right now. We're gonna go to battery test. This is a 12 volt system. This is a regular. The battery's out of the vehicle. It's gonna be a top post. This is an AGM battery. We're gonna measure the cold cranking amps, CCA. And on your screen right now, it pretty much shows where you can find the cold cranking amp of the battery. It's 800, this is 800 as well. Great, so now we're gonna go test the battery to see its health. So, all right, let's just say we just charged it. Let's see what it reads. All right, it's telling me to replace the battery. Why is that? So we got 12.41 volts, it's at 385 cold cranking amps, when the rating is actually for 800. So this battery is not good. So this is, it'll give you your resistance, SOH and SOC. So this is a quick way to kind of test whether your battery is good or not and whether you can kind of save it. So sometimes what you'll do is you'll end up charging your battery, but it actually does not bring it back to full life or reliable life. So imagine we just charged that battery up like overnight on a little trickle charger, which I'll show you in the next part of this video. And let's say we ran this test after we charged it and it says, hey, we're only at 300 cold cranking amp. You may get one or two starts out of that battery, but it will probably leave you stranded. So this is a great way to get a little more confidence on whether your battery is healthy or not healthy at all. I definitely recommend the Foxwell scan tool. So real quick, what we could do, let's pan around, camera guy. So on this Porsche right here, we'll come under the hood. Okay, we can go pop this little cover off. So here's our battery. And what we could do at this point, if we wanted to, we could put this scan tool right here. Okay, so now this says 11.98 volts. Now that's very low. Again, according to what's on your screen right now, this battery is showing me on a first pass that we are not at a good voltage on this battery. But nevertheless, we'll do test type, regular. Let's say it's in the vehicle, okay? So we'll do top post. This is a regular battery. This is not an AGM. Cold cranking amp, we're gonna have as 900. So 900 cold cranking amp. Let's do test. All right, good. This battery's good, but it needs a recharge, okay? All right, so at this point, what we can do is we can start the engine of the car, and this scanner will give us a series of directions like turn the heater on full blast, turn the AC on full blast, turn the high beams on, rev the engine a little bit. And what it's doing is trying to test the alternator to see whether the alternator is actually recharging the battery or not, or whether you have some kind of parasitic draw, et cetera. So these are very powerful tools to measure not only the life of your battery, but a lot of the components inside your car as well. All right, so this is a battery tender, but also charger as well. Why is it also a charger? So there are some battery tenders out there that will say 5 amp. There's also battery tenders that are 800 milliamps. So this battery tender right here is actually nearly 5 times stronger than this little one right here. So I wouldn't really rely on an 800 milliamp trickle charger to like pretty much charge a battery that requires 900 cold cranking amps. Maybe more of like a motorcycle battery or like a lawnmower. All right, so this is the battery tender that I recommend for everyone out there. It's 5 amps. This one's not too expensive. You can get into the C-Tex, which is kind of the gold standard, which will be linked in the description below, as you can see on your screen right now. But this is a good $50 battery tender that you can plug in. So the way I do this, okay, come over here. So I mount all my outlets down low for all my chargers for the cars. That way you don't see like a black cord, pretty much like plugged in right here. You have a black cord hanging down. I'm OCD, it's a little, not aesthetic for me. So what I do is I mount them down low. There's a video in the description on how to do all this garagery work. If you're interested, take a yellow towel right here. That way you know that your car is currently being charged, okay? You're gonna drape your cord over, and now right here, we're gonna hook up the battery to the tender. So come around. So what you'll see right here is that this is a solid orange light. Solid orange means that the battery capacity is below 80%. Once it starts blinking green right here, that means that the battery is above 80% charge. Once it's a solid green, it means 100%. And then this has some circuit boards inside that will actually exercise the battery over time while it's in storage. So these are great. 5 amp is amazing so that you can not only trickle charge the battery, but when the battery is like dead, you can actually bring it back to life overnight. So tomorrow what we'll do is recharge and retest this battery with the Foxwell scan tool, and we'll see the life of the battery.
And right now, I'm gonna walk you through the procedure for the battery quick disconnect.
So right here are pretty much jumper cables that you can put onto your battery. This one is just a simple clamp style, to the positive post to the negative post. This right here is a more permanent install. It even comes with an inline fuse, which is rated to, that says 7.5 amps. So what I want to do is actually install this guy onto the terminals of the battery so that we can go run this to a trickle charger right here and start charging the battery up. So one of the tricks I do for these little terminal posts here, since these are little eye hooks, is I take a pair of dikes and I'll snip this in 2 spots. One right here, right there. So now we have an open in this. That's going to allow us to kind of hook onto the bolt without actually removing the little nut itself on the car. So I'll do that for the positive and the negative. Now we can hook on. I'll show you that right now. All right, we're at the negative terminal of the battery. I'm gonna put a 10 millimeter on here and just kind of loosen this guy up, just enough to get a little gap right there. Now I'm gonna take the negative terminal right here and just slide that on just like that. I'll also go ahead and tuck this wire in right here and get to a spot where I want it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this nut again. Pretty much support this right here so that you don't over strain this connection. So this guy's on, and we'll repeat for the other side. All right, here's the positive side of the terminal. So it'll loosen right here, just enough to get a little gap. Kind of sneak this guy in here, just like that. I might even crank it over like this. Now, I'll go ahead and tighten this up. Okay, pull on your terminal, it's all secure. Great, next step. All right, I'm gonna come over to my passenger fender, get a yellow microfiber towel, put it over the fender. I'll grab my battery tender and charger, I'll reach into the car, and I will go ahead and plug this in right here. What I'll end up doing is actually, I like to pretty much tuck this cable outside of the trim piece here. So I put that in, I'll put this in, and then I'll just, so every time I want to go charge the car, what I'll do is I'll grab this, and I'll plug it in right here. So this is a really good way to make sure your car does not die over the winter. I'll show you right now. So you're gonna see on the screen right here, so I have pretty much, this is a 5 amp battery tender. I really like these. These are pretty relatively cheap. The C-Tex are very expensive. They're around like 120 bucks a charger. I can get these around like 50. You want the 5 amp because that allows you to charge the battery in case the voltage and the CCAs, the cold cranking amps, are too low on the battery. So I'll do this. I like mounting my outlets low in my garage. Just put the tender here, put the cord low. I use a yellow microfiber because that lets me know when I come out to the car that, hey, I have a charger on the car, and I'll end up backing the car out and then ripping a wire out of the wall or off the car, etc. So imagine if this was a black car, you know, with a black cable, you don't even see it, you back it out. Ask me how I know. So, all right guys, this is how you install a battery maintainer on your Porsche or any car you have.
All right guys, with the battery hooked up and charging overnight, the light just turned green. So what we can do now is take the Foxwell scan tool and recheck the battery health now that it's fully charged. Let's go hook up the leads, positive and negative. All right, let's once again rerun the battery test. So 12 volt, regular, in vehicle, top post, regular battery, cold cranking amp, 900. Let's run the test. All right, as you can see here, we have 13.01 volts. We measured 866 cold cranking amps. It's rated for 900, that's really good. Now we can go down to the more battery health here, 4.2 milliohms. State of health is 81%, and the state of charge is also at 100%. So this lets me know that this battery is good to go. I actually don't have to replace this battery. This is gonna show you how important this tool is, because with just this right here, we saved ourselves $350 from having to replace a new battery. And let's move on to the next part of the video. One more thing for why battery maintenance is so important. If you let your battery drop too low, let's say below that 12.0 volts for like a bad battery, you're gonna have a lot of system problems with your car. You're gonna have a lot of ECU issues, warnings, errors, lights flickering, maybe your spoiler won't go up or go down, maybe like an e-brake's not gonna work if it's electronic. So a bad battery is one of the first things that I look for whenever a car has a problem. It's one of the cheapest solutions before you start diving into electronics, replacing modules, etc. So always check your battery first. Make sure it's charged and it has 12.8 volts. Usually you're able to, if you can charge the battery up, you can kind of test those systems out. But there's no guarantee that if the health of the battery is not that great, that maybe a month from now you might have the same problems again. So that's one reason why maintaining a battery is good for your car. All right guys, that's gonna cover our video for today. That's how you pretty much test your battery out with a multimeter, a Foxwell scan tool, how to put a quick disconnect charger on your car. So if you have any questions, put in a comment below. As always, everything used in this video will be linked in the description as well. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time. Thanks guys.